Today's review is sponsored by kale-flavored condoms for vegetarians who like a little sausage.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
Psychomania, aka the Death Wheelers, which I think is a more appropriate title. Undead motorcycle riders. That's all I gotta say. I hear the plot, zombie bikers terrorize the roads of England, and I'm in. Does the movie live up to its idea? Well, we'll get into that.
Everybody dies, don't they? But some come back. Isn't that so?
We follow a motorcycle gang called the Living Dead, which will be fitting very soon, led by Tom, who has a fascination with the dark arts. These delinquents like racing their motorcycles, terrorizing people on the city streets, and making out in graveyards. And frogs. Tom really likes frogs.
Tom, what are you doing? Tom, are you all right?
It just so happens that Tom's mother is a Satanist who knows the secrets of eternal life. She passes this knowledge on to Tom, who then passes it on to his fellow bikers. Next thing you know, we're treated to some undead biker shenanigans. While I can't bring myself to call this a great movie, there's plenty of entertainment to go around. That's the big thing. This horror movie doesn't focus on being scary, it focuses on being entertaining. This is a biker movie with a supernatural twist. Before we get to the immortality angle, we see how this gang likes to cause chaos. There's some decent motorcycle action spread throughout the film, and we get some good stunts.
Ladies!
The fun ramps up when Tom discovers the secret of immortality. In order to live forever, first you have to die, and you have to believe that you can come back. And here's the important part. You have to kill yourself.
I'm going! See you around!
We learn right away that Tom's mom made a deal with the devil many years ago in order to learn this secret. It was meant to be kept in the family, not shared with outsiders. But Tom doesn't give a shit about that. He's in it for chaotic fun. This was one of those PG horror movies from the 1970s, back when PG actually meant something. 70s PG was basically what PG-13 is now. A lot of 70s PG horror movies had more of an edge to them. Psychomania doesn't quite have that edge, but the movie still manages to have fun with some of the deaths. This comes when members of the Living Dead gang start killing themselves so they can come back. There's a dark humor to this montage. Each of the gang members goes out with a wink and a grin.
Hey! On this!
Psychomania needed more of that. More scenes of the gang having fun with the fact that they're immortal. There are a few scenes when characters play around with the fact that they can't die.
Hey, look! No hand!
The problem is, the flick never takes full advantage of this idea. Most of the movie is spent building up to the other bikers becoming immortal. Once Tom comes back from the grave, we spend too much time waiting for everyone else to become like him. It is a fun resurrection, though. He busts out of the ground on a motorcycle. In addition to that, there are only 3 scenes when the motorcycle gang causes chaos in town. These scenes are a blast, watching them terrorize the townfolk. But there could have been more. We never see any civilians try to stand up to the biker gang. We never see anyone try to attack them and do some damage only to find out they won't die. That could have been a lot of fun. There are 1 or 2 moments when the gang members attack each other, but it would have been fun to see some civilians fight back. More immortal shenanigans. This movie does give you some satisfaction. You just want a little more.
Tom!
And another thing. You can only die once. After that, nothing and nobody can harm you.
There's a side plot with the police trying to find Tom and the other dead bikers. They don't believe they came back from the dead. They think someone stole their bodies. This could have led to a fantastic standoff with the police. The cops shooting at the bikers and their bullets being useless. But it doesn't build to that, though. In fact, the entire cop plot doesn't build to much of anything. Slight spoiler warning here. Even though I have complaints, I do think this movie is worth seeing, so spoiler alert.
What the hell do you think you're up to?
The police are setting up a trap for Tom and his gang at the city morgue. This is the moment when the cops are finally going to meet the undead motorcycle gang. But instead of a clash between ghouls and the law, we get this. Just a slow reveal that the cops are dead. We don't even get to see them die. As much as I love R-rated horror movies, I'm not one of those people who thinks all horror movies should be rated R. There are some good PG-13 horror movies out there, and in terms of the 70s, there's some damn good PG movies. But in the case of Psychomania, I think the movie could have benefited from more blood. It could have been R, or at the very least, a stronger 70s PG. Like I said, this is a movie about an undead motorcycle gang. And while there are a few moments where they play around with this idea, the film never takes full advantage of it. I think by doing more damage to the motorcycle gang and having some more blood, the movie could have been a little more entertaining. Hell, the filmmakers could have given the violence a little more of an oomph and still kept their PG rating, like many horror movies from the 70s. Madhouse from 1974, rated PG. Grizzly from 1976, rated PG. Jaws from 1975, rated PG. It's a shame because there's a lot to like about Psychomania. I know I complained about it a lot, but there is enjoyment to be had in this film. It's not a bad flick, it's just a troubled flick, but it's worth hunting down if you're looking for something to watch. Let's get to the Grindhouse Rankings. We've got a body count of 29. This includes people who died and came back from the dead. The kills are mostly off-screen deaths, but we also get some strangulations, a few falls to the death, and being run over by motorcycles. The motorcycle scenes are fun, especially when the gang is causing chaos in town. There's a couple decent chase sequences, there's some dark humor that helps move the plot forward. It sadly doesn't take full advantage of its plot. The movie could have been a little more graphic in its violence. I wish there were more immortal shenanigans. It would have been fun to see the characters do things like shoot themselves for fun. And as fun as the motorcycle scenes are, there could have been a few more sprinkled into the movie. Overall, I'd say Psychomania is a good 3 out of 5. It may not be a masterpiece, but it's worth seeing at least once. There's enough here to make it enjoyable. As always, I want to thank all of you for watching and supporting my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you like what I do here, or give it a thumbs down if you don't like what I do here. Leave a comment down below. let me know of a decent once-and-done horror movie that you've watched recently. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die.
Let this be a lesson to you. Never ride your imaginary motorcycle in the house.